we've taken a look from the offensive side of the ball, how we want to teach our slap hitters, how to take advantage of some of the things the defense is going to give you. Now let's take a look defensively, how we go about defending against a slap hitter. As we talked about before, you'll find a lot of different teams use a lot of different defenses. The one that we found most effective for us is the following. When we look at our basic defense, and we'll start here with the infield first, third, short, second, and first base in their normal position. We move some people around when we come to defending a slapper. We'll start with a shortstop. Their job is to move directly in the baseline, halfway between second and third. Right from their normal position, they're just going to move in and in the baseline. This will allow a ball hit to shortstop, them to get rid of the ball quickly and make the play at first before that runner beats it out. If your shortstop stays back in their regular position, they won't have time to throw the runner out at first base. The third baseman comes in a little bit from their normal position, and our key here is the third baseman, as the pitcher delivers the ball, takes 2 steps directly to her left. And she's going to take away that hole where the shortstop normally is and where the batter's trying to hit the ball. Now you notice what we've done by having the third baseman move over is we're susceptible to that ball down the third base line. And that's okay until a slapper proves to us that she can effectively hit the ball down the line. We're going to give her that line. Now if we have a very skilled slapper that can put the ball down the line, then we won't cheat over as much. Then we'll have our third baseman stay home a little bit more and then just pinch our shortstop a little bit tighter. Most slappers are going to have difficulty going down that third base line. So we'll give that up until they prove to us they can hit the line. Over here on the right side of the infield is where we do a big difference. Our first baseman we bring in and position halfway between the pitcher and the first baseline. Our second baseman comes over and plays behind first base, sort of a deep first base position similar to a baseball first baseman. The second baseman will take all throws at first base. First baseman never goes back to cover the base. So what we've done is eliminate any problems between our first baseman and second baseman, getting tangled up going back, who's covering, who's not going to cover, and just give that responsibility to the second baseman. Now as a coach, you might want to make some changes here. Depending on your personnel, at times we might have our second baseman come in and play this short position and let the first baseman go back and play deep. That's your decision as a coach. Who's going to be more effective taking that throw at first, as well as who's going to be more effective fielding the short bunts and short balls here in the infield. So effectively what we've done, now we create a barrier right around the pitcher's circle, third baseman, pitcher, first baseman, that makes it very difficult for our slappers to get the ball by this short circle. And it gives us a much better chance of throwing that slapper out at first base when we effectively take that tool out of their hands. So when looking at our defense for the infield, that remains pretty constant no matter what kind of slap hitter we have. The difference that you'll find in our defense comes in the outfield. Depending how hard or how far this slap hitter can hit the ball, we judge our outfield accordingly. The outfield will vary on a line depending on how much power the slap hitter has. For a very weak slap hitter, that's all they do is slap, we're going to play real tight on the infield. Outfielders move in and towards the third baseline to take away these areas from the slap hitter. A hitter that has some power, we play our outfield at a halfway point, again along this same line. where the outfield has to respect the power that the slapper might have, where we don't want them to have any chance of driving the ball past or over the heads of our outfielder. A regular left-handed hitter that can also slap, we might play a slap hitting defense on the infield, but we'll play our outfield at regular depth to avoid getting burned on a ball over our heads. The whole key to your defense is being able to read this hitter and to read the slapper to see what they're going to do. That's a call that you make from the dugout as a coach, and sort of a call that the infield and outfield has to make depending on what they see from the left-handed batter's box. In terms of reading the hitter, as we said, most of the time that call is going to come from the dugout. Your players also need to be aware of what the batter's doing in the batter's box and how to defend accordingly. The easiest type of slappers to defend are the ones that start as right-handed hitters and change over to the left side. It gives you a pretty good idea that they're going to be slapping when they come up. The hardest ones to defend is a natural left-handed hitter that starts in the middle of the batter's box, that can swing away for power, and it will also slap off this same movement. The keys to look for in terms of defending your slap hitters. 1, if they start way in the back of the batter's box, chances are that they're going to slap. Very few hitters hit from the back of the batter's box. All right, so if you see a batter slide back to the batter's box, the back end, that's when we'll change to our slap hitting defense. The other thing we'll look for is the grip. If they're way down on the end of the bat, that'll give us a good idea that they're going to swing away. If they choke up and have a nice short grip, again, more susceptible to slap hitters, that's when we'll pull in a little bit. We want our outfielders to be able to read that. A batter from the normal left-handed batter's box, if they start to run up, if they start to choke up on the grip and start to move as a pitch moves in, our outfield needs to pinch in as that's happening. Shortstop particularly needs to pinch in so they cut down that distance and are able to get rid of the ball and throw somebody out at first base. The more times that you play a team, obviously the more type of a book you can get on a hitter, who does slap hitting, who hits away, who's a left-handed hitter that hits for power, and that type of thing. So the next time you come up against that team, you've got some idea how to set your defense. Watch the hitters in the on-deck circle. If a batter's in the on-deck circle and they're practicing like this to get their timing off your pitcher, chances are they're going to be a slap hitter. Again, that's when we'll pull our defense in and play our slap hitting defense. So some of the call has to come from the dugout. Some of it has to be a reaction from your players as the game progresses and as the batter goes through their motions. So again, keys to look for: placement in the batter's box. If they start up here and move back, that gives you a good idea. And how they're holding the bat, how they're gripping the bat. Whether they're going to swing away full, the bat down on the end, or whether they got a choked up grip where they're going to slap the ball. So those are some keys to look for in terms of reading those hitters. The next thing that we want to talk about defensively is how to pitch to the slappers. And how you pitch somewhat is dictated by the type of slapper that you have. You'll find a lot of mistakes that players make, and a lot of where you can take advantage of these specific mistakes. For example, a slap hitter that tends to pull out too soon and head towards first base, that sort of pulls away from the plate, obviously is going to be very susceptible to balls on the outside corner, low outside corner in particular. All right. Slap hitters that run directly at the pitcher as they're supposed to, or slightly at an angle towards the shortstop, a pitch on the low inside part of the plate is going to be very difficult for them to hit to the third base side. So again, we have our first baseman in. We want to encourage the slap hitters to hit the ball to the right side of the infield because it's easier to throw them out from that side. So a pitch low inside, high inside, again, is going to be difficult for them to hit to the opposite field. If you have a good slap hitter, we throw the first pitch right up underneath their chin. That's going to back them away from the plate. It's going to make them a little bit more gun shy about running in and really keeping that front shoulder locked in if you have one come at their head. All right, so now they're going to be pulling away a little bit more. Now we'll throw low outside, change-ups down and away. A change-up's a good, effective pitch against a slap hitter, because the whole idea of a slap hitter is to develop their timing, where they're making contact with the ball right up here in front part of the batter's box. And if you can throw that timing off with a changeup, it can be a very effective tool in pitching against a slap hitter. So again, in review, in terms of pitching against slap hitters, low and outside to the hitter that pulls away. A good slap hitter, up and in, all right, brush them back, throw it right at their head, and then throw it low and away. Inside pitches, low and inside, high and inside, are very difficult for them to hit to the opposite field. So you encourage them to pull the ball right where your defense is set. And finally, a changeup. To throw their timing off, to get them way out front, can be very, very effective in terms of pitching against your slap hitters.